The lines on Saeed's face deepened with each passing year, each argument with Fatima. Dakota brings in good money, Saeed. Why throw it away? Fatima would plead, her voice sharp as the winter wind that rattled their windows. Dakota, the aging Malamute with eyes like chips of amber and a lineage that whispered of wolves, had been a lucrative investment. Her pups fetched a premium from hunters and farmers alike, keen on their hardy nature and keen noses. But Saeed, his heart strangely tugged by the whimpers of the scrawny, half-blind puppy he'd found shivering in the snow, was resolute. He'd named it Zephyr, a whisper of a promise for a new beginning. She's old, Fatima. Her time is done. And Zephyr, he deserves a chance, Saeed would say, his gaze fixed on the clumsy puppy, tumbling over his own paws. Fatima would scoff, her hands on her hips. A chance? To do what? Eat us out of house and home? The tension in their small cabin grew thick as the winter ice. Saeed felt a growing disconnect with Fatima, her pragmatism clashing with the inexplicable tenderness he felt for the small life he'd brought into their home. Finally, one day, he could bear the weight no more. He led Dakota, her gray muzzle hanging heavy, to the edge of the forest, the familiar leash pulling her along. He secured her to a sturdy oak, the thick rope digging into the bark. The dog looked up at him, her amber eyes holding a question he couldn't answer. He turned, not meeting her gaze, his throat tight. "Forgive me, old girl," he muttered to the cold air, and walked away, leaving her alone. The first drops of rain began to fall, cold and unforgiving, soaking into Dakota's thick fur. She whimpered, a low rumble deep in her chest, and pulled at the rope, her nails scratching at the bark. The rain turned into a downpour, the wind whipping through the trees, chilling her to the bone. Hours crawled by, and she continued to wait, the stubborn loyalty of a creature that had given her heart to a human. But finally, the cold seeped too deep, the abandonment cut too sharp. She gnawed at the rope with her worn teeth, her body trembling, the taste of hemp bitter on her tongue. When it finally snapped, she took one last look in the direction of the cabin, and then turned to the beckoning darkness of the forest. Days turned into weeks. Dakota, driven by a primal instinct, learned to hunt again, her worn frame finding strength in necessity. She stalked rabbits and hares, surviving on her own, but the loneliness was a constant ache. Then, she found them, 3 tiny, whimpering bundles of fur huddled in a shallow den hidden under a tangle of roots. Wolf cubs, orphaned and helpless. A surge of instinct, more potent than any she'd ever known, coursed through her. She, who had been abandoned, became their protector. She nursed them, her milk long dry, but the warmth of her body and the sound of her heart lulled them to sleep. She taught them to hunt, to track the wind, to feel the earth with their paws, her old instincts awakening with a renewed purpose. Life was hard, the struggle for survival relentless. Winter came, harsh and unforgiving, testing the strength of them all. But Dakota, fueled by her fierce love for her found pups, wouldn't yield. One day, their territory was challenged. A pack of large, imposing wolves circled them, their teeth bared, their eyes cold and predatory. Dakota stood between them and her cubs, her aged body trembling, but her spirit unbroken. She snarled, a deep guttural sound, the instinct of survival burning in her eyes. She fought, teeth bared, claws extended, giving everything she had. Just as the wolves began to circle, the fight changed. They paused, their ears perked, and the alpha wolf stepped forward, his eyes narrowed, studying Dakota. He caught the scent of her, the subtle traces of domesticated blood, but something else too. A deep, unwavering loyalty that resonated with his own instincts. The pack retreated, and to Dakota's surprise, they began to accept her, acknowledging the powerful protector she had become. She wasn't one of them, not truly, but they respected her tenacity, her fierce love.